Welcome to another episode of Quick Question with top producing Twin Cities Realtor Dave Oswald. Now, join Dave as he answers your questions about residential real estate.
We seem to get a lot of questions about appraisals. And in the real estate business, there's a couple of cousins to appraisals that I think people are curious about. A CMA, a BPO, and an appraisal. Now, a CMA is a comparative market analysis. Sometimes it's known as a competitive market analysis. It's still the same thing. It's essentially one that is done by a realtor to help set the price of a home before we go to market. So we're always asked to look at the comparables, try to get them as close to those properties, get those comparables to as close to the subject property as we can be, and then set our price for marketing. Now, usually with a CMA, we come up with a range because there's always a range in real estate. Nobody can really tell you in advance what that price is going to be. Second item is a BPO, broker's price opinion. Now, oftentimes a broker's price opinion comes from a bank seeking a realtor's opinion or a broker's price opinion of a property in a short sale or a foreclosure. Those are ordered by the banks. They hire a realtor, usually pay him $75 to go out and look at comps and do what normally would be called a CMA. Third item is an appraisal. And to answer that question a little bit more succinctly is my friend Bob Zvanovec. And Bob owns Swan Appraisals. Bob's been appraising homes for over 20 years, as well as commercial properties. And so, Bob, how do you see the difference between what you do for a lender, for an appraisal, and versus that and a BPO or a CMA?
Well, Dave, I would think that the appraisal probably is a lot more thorough than the BPOs or the comparative analysis that are completed by the realtors. I don't think that that is their primary function, is they're selling real estate, and they don't spend a lot of time on the BPOs. Whereas the appraiser, I think, spends probably in the neighborhood of about 6 to 8 hours on one appraisal.
Really?
There's just a lot to it. I mean, we end up with 18 to 23 page reports. We have to investigate sales, investigate listings, look at a lot of properties along the way, and we spend a little bit of time at the subject property as well.
How often do you get asked to do an appraisal before somebody puts their house on the market?
Very rarely. I would have to say that the realtors, and I think this has always been the situation in real estate, is that the realtors really set the market. Yeah. The appraisers are coming in after the fact just to confirm the sale price and the value is there, and the banks require it in order to lend against the property. They want to have an independent analysis done by an appraiser, generally.
The other question I get about appraisals are we still plagued? And of course, this is of interest to somebody selling their home, and we sell it at a price, and the buyer has to get an appraisal that matches up to that price. Are we still plagued with low appraisals?
I think that we're probably not plagued as much as we used to be, maybe in the really low parts of the market, 2.8, 2.9, 2.10, into 2.11. When there was so much foreclosure activity going on in the market, I think it impacted certainly certain segments of the market more than others. Submarkets like North Minneapolis, for instance, at that time were experiencing maybe 34, 35 out of 40 sales were foreclosure sales. So in that case, the appraisers would use foreclosure sales as comps.
They had no choice.
But in say a Lakeville market where foreclosure activity never really got that heavy, we're not really supposed to use foreclosure sales. Although in certain situations where there was some degree of foreclosures going on in that particular neighborhood, we would use we would end up using and also some limited amounts of sales we would have to use some.
Yeah, I think also for our low appraisals are we still will see them when we're in an appreciating market, when we're seeing prices go up. Oftentimes the old values from 6 to 12 months behind us are lower because the market is going this way. So sometimes I think that affects the appraisal values when we come to borrow money on a purchase. There's a lot of questions about appraisals, and if you've got more, just give me a call. I answer my phone 7 days a week, 612-801-2224. I really appreciate your being with us today on Quick Question, and we'll see you next time.
Have a quick question about residential real estate? Email it to us at quickquestion@daveoswaldhomes.com.